I am working my way through defeating the game Pokemon Yellow with solo challenges of every single one of the 151 Pokedex entries in the game. And today we are taking a look at Nidoran Female. Now, I realize that to the left of your screen, you don't see that. It is a different Pokemon. There's a whole, this whole video, there's a little bit of a mess throughout the whole thing, right? First and foremost, for some reason, the software would not bring up this Pokemon until it is physically in my party. Every time I tried to just load the Pokemon into the screen, it would just stay on the last thing I had previously loaded in. So I don't really know what that's all about, so I had to sort of finagle my way through. But now it updates and we have the correct Pokemon. It also means that I can't get like kind of fancy with my special like original red and blue artwork. I'm kind of going off of like the leaf green, fire red versions. So there's that as well. The other thing is that originally I was going to do this video and do a Nidoran female and male comparison, sort of going back and forth between the two, just sort of seeing where they go a little differently, because their movesets are fairly similar, but with a few kind of key distinctions. Unfortunately, basically what then ended up happening in this video was it was actually so much different. It was so different. I'm trying to put this into thoughts right now. I'm like stuttering. I got so angry at this video. I was so frustrated throughout a lot of this. It was a time and a half, I guess, is maybe the most gentle way of saying it. This Pokemon has a lot of struggles. It has a lot of struggles. So let's just sort of start from the very beginning, shall we? All right, so taking a look at the right-hand side of this screen, right? We're taking a look at the moves that Nidoran Female has. So we start off with Growl and Tackle. That's pretty standard. At level 8, we learn Scratch, which doesn't do that much more damage than Tackle. It's only 5 points, and considering that we are just poison type, we do not have any kind of normal typing, we don't get any kind of stab boost, meaning same type attack bonus, so it just stays only 40 power more. So not really all that great. At level 12, which we're going to have to grind for a little bit here, we get Double Kick, and Double Kick is going to be maybe one of the more helpful moves that we get here. Unfortunately, it is also very weak. It's only 30 power. However, it does attack twice, 2 times in a row, Double Kick, right? And then after that, we learn Poison Sting. So that is a move that we would get that stab bonus for, right? However, again, it's very weak. 15 power. And it is the only poison type move that we're gonna get. Yes, there is Toxic, but Toxic just poisons a Pokemon, doesn't really do anything, doesn't do like specific damage in the attack. I will say, for any kind of challenge like this, typically I feel like Toxic is pretty useless. Yeah, I think that's maybe the nicest way of putting that. And it's also a TM, and we're not going to get it till mid to late game, so again, very pointless for us to really have. At level 23, we have Tail Whip. At level 30, we get Bite. And then at level 38, we have Fury Swipes. Another move that does multiple attacks, but 18 power. I mean, I literally am sitting here in the game in real time. I was honestly looking some stuff up. I was trying to desperately see if there was maybe anything wrong, just because of the fact that certain things weren't loading into the game properly earlier. I was thinking, okay, maybe let me just real quick Google this learn set. Maybe there is something else that I can use, because I knew going into this that this was going to be a little bit of a struggle, and boy howdy was I kind of calling my shot there a little bit, Babe Ruth style. So there's a lot of issues with the move pool here, just in the fact that a lot of the latter half of the TMs are really going to be pointless, either unusable, whether it be because of like rules, or just, again, they aren't going to be helpful whatsoever in completing a solo challenge. And then there's a few like good moves there in the middle, but will it be enough? That is the question that we are here to problem solve for today. The one thing that we do have going for us is the fact that we are not even 10 minutes into the game, but because we do have double kick, and double kick is super effective against the rock types, we can make it through Brock's team very efficiently. This is one of the few times where this Pokemon will have literally no struggles whatsoever. So I hope you enjoyed one of the only easy moments in this entire video. The rest of it, it's a ride. Now, as much as I say, oh, this is one of the only easy parts, right? Of course, then getting to Mount Moon is also quite easy. I almost never show it because I've yet to have a Pokemon that has truly struggled against early game Pokemon. Anything like Ekans or the Bugs or Rattata, right? We're seeing a lot of those on our way to Mount Moon, so there's no real reason to show that. No one's really struggling against those just yet. That being said, we are only 7 levels above this Super Nerds team, but as you can see, we aren't doing much damage every time we hit, so we kind of barely get through that fight. And I'm going to have to use up all of the last bit of my potions, all the ones that I found naturally in the overworld. I haven't purchased any, so, you know, I could probably do a little bit more on that front. But we are going to the very first rocket battle, and this is going to be one of the first times where you really see a Pokemon struggle. And, I mean, obviously the Bugs struggled, but that's obviously, I think, a little different as well, because those are the very weak Bugs. And in a game where Bug Pokemon really had no benefit, no real strengths, no super effective moves, anything like that, with the exception of maybe Pin Missile, but even that is limited to just 2 Pokemon in this entire game. So, Nidoran does squeeze by, and that's fine. And now we can make it to Cerulean. Now that we're here, there's going to be a little bit of a moment where I consider going back in to do a little bit more training. I eventually move on, and this could have been a mistake, I think. I actually think that this is another one of those Pokemon where you really probably should spend as much time as you possibly can just absolutely hammering in any kind of experience that you can get for this Pokemon in the early game. I know it drags that beginning portion along, but everything is outspeeding us, basically. Everything is outpowering us. Overpowering us, I guess, is how most people would actually say that. But yeah, we're here against the second rival team, and we're 5 levels over, and we're, again, barely making by. It's a struggle already. And to make matters worse, again, we did have a little bit of a stat drop here. Someone using, and we actually had another one right there. They are dropping my attack, and it's pretty much the only thing that I can use effectively at this point in the game. So getting a attack drop, huge, honestly, for them. We then make our way all the way up to Bill and back again, and we are now at level 26. We are making our way through the gym trainers. And, spoiler alert, we're not going to be able to take on Misty. That is, I think, a pretty bad sign for a Pokemon that is not super weak to water-type moves, right? Consider how a Pokemon like Charmander, for example, definitely needed some opportunities to level up and come back and everything like that. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because fire type is weak to water. But here I go up against Misty with a poison Pokemon at level 26. We are outsped. We are outpowered. I did it again. We are overpowered. I'll leave that one in because it's getting kind of funny to me that I've now made that mistake twice. I don't know why I keep saying that. Either way, Bubble Beam, because of the critical hits and everything like that, is just proving to be too much, and we barely make it through Staryu every time. We lose about a fourth, I almost said a third. Math, I promise, I'm not that bad at it. But we make it through with still 3/4 of our health, and it is still not enough. I feel like we desperately need as much health as possible. And of course, because of moves like Harden and X-Defend, Starmie is just really becoming an absolute tank, and nothing that I can do is going to make that any easier on me. So we are going to attempt it one more time here. I feel like a couple of times when we get lucky right? When we hit the poison early, it feels good, but then you get critical hit and that's kind of game over. So the battle plan here is we're going to go to SS Ann. We're going to get the TM for surprise, body slam, everyone's favorite move, right? Now this is going to be an interesting one because typically body slam is just a move that I put on to a lot of these Pokemon until they can get a better move, until they have something that is a little bit more consistent, a little bit more powerful, get some stab, whatever the case may be, right? This is going to be one of the times where body slam goes all the way to the end of the ride. That is something that I think that this Pokemon desperately needs. Bite can make a Pokemon flinch, but it isn't as powerful. And honestly, flinching is great, but paralyzing is better, especially when so many things are outspeeding us. We desperately need to be able to cut their speed in half or more. And so now we're going to go up against the rival, obviously. I mean, we're already here, right? We might as well. We've fought literally every trainer on this ship. I am now at level 32. Wow, perfect. I was just about to say the level, and of course we leveled up. It's almost like I've planned this, at least a little bit. And then after we've cut through that team, haha, get it? Because we're getting cut here? No? Okay. Well, we get the move for cut and we make our way out. Of course, we can't then go on to fight Surge because we can't cut yet. Just because we have the move does not mean that we can use it, which is really unfortunate because getting Thunderbolt would be great. But either way, we make it back to Misty. We're now level 32, so all that training has really helped in getting through Staryu quickly, efficiently, powerfully, and still getting outsped by Starmie. But would you look at that? Body Slam really is a game changer, at least for this portion of the game. That was huge. We made it through in such little time. Now we go on to Lieutenant Surge, a trainer who is notoriously not very good. But even with Nidoran, we do first try take this guy out. It does take 4 attacks to do it. But hey, you know, I'll take it. I'll take the one kind of victory, the kind of easier moments. It's kind of nice. Now we're going to Erica's gym, and this one is a real... Oh boy, I kind of do wish that we still had, obviously, our Poison Sting move. This is maybe one of the only times in the entire game where it feels like it would be great, but also, we've talked about it in previous videos, these Pokemon are grass poison. So the poison isn't even really that great unless you're looking at Tangela, and that is the only one that it will really work against. And, you know, of course, that is also something that we have to fight our way to. One of the tough things here is that we do almost die. I mean, the fact that we did not crush the very first Oddish on one hit lets them get off a spore, a stun spore, and we, of course, get paralyzed. And because they're outspeeding us, they almost wrap us to death. After a quick little healing session, we make our way back to the gym, and I continue on this path. This is just one of those things where, at this point, every trainer in every gym is going to have to be fought. With the exception of Sabrina's gym, I do think that that is a place where we probably could afford to get the experience, but it's also so dangerous. We are so weak to everything that's in that gym. So we're not really going to spend a lot of time there later. But this is the kind of opportunity where we're not very weak to these things, and they're not very weak to us either. We're pretty evenly matched. And because of that, it does give us at least a moderate amount of time or a moderate amount of experience that we can utilize here. And it's going to be down to the wire, right? This is one of those Pokemon where, with a Pokemon like Mew, right? When we took a look at that Pokemon a few weeks ago, you didn't really need to grind. In fact, we most of the time tried to fight as few people as possible because I didn't need to be excessively over-leveled in order to beat all the Pokemon in front of me. However, when you are with a Pokemon like Nidoran, yeah, I mean, look at that. My speed's down to 1. My special's at 49. I'm going to say that again. My special is at 49. That is so bad. This is atrocious. My speed is only 50. This Pokemon is not having a great time. And I'll be honest, neither am I. I feel like I got very frustrated with other videos like the bird Pokemon, but it was also kind of one of those situations where I felt like, well, yeah, the birds aren't really known for being powerful. And Nidoran, both male and female, obviously evolve into some powerhouses. So you kind of have to feel like there's at least some sort of basis there, right? But when you're a pre-evolution Pokemon, I totally get that you're much weaker. But I also feel like we should be doing better than Weedle. I don't think we're doing that much better than Weedle, is what I'm getting at. I think that Weedle at this point, yeah, did take a lot longer to get to this section just because Brock. But I feel like we're at Weedle tier right now, and I need to see Nidoran do something pretty impressive here against Tangela. Unfortunately, we do initially and instantly lose some speed. So we are outsped by a Weepinbell, who we luckily have already defeated. That could have actually gone a lot worse. And honestly, Body Slam does kind of cruise right through Gloom. Not what I was expecting. I did really expect this to be a couple of tries, and we got through on the first one. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe we are better than Weedle tier. We'll have to kind of continue to keep an eye on this. A good example of a place where we could potentially check for better improvements along a Pokemon's line is at a place like here, going up against Giovanni, against Team Rocket. There's a lot of poison and normal type Pokemon here, and the poison we're not necessarily super effective against, but normal type and rock type in Giovanni's case, and the normal type for Persian, we still have double kick, and that move proves to be quite efficient against this team. And so therefore we do make it through the rocket base pretty quickly and pretty easily. Okay, perhaps I should be considering this Pokemon in a better light. Perhaps I was too harsh. Maybe the beginning of the game was just too difficult for this Pokemon. I mean, look right here, right? We've taught it Thunderbolt, and so the first two Pokemon go down pretty easily. Body Slam can take Vulpix pretty well. Ignore the fact that we're 22 levels above all these Pokemon. 23 now. Well, not so much for Eevee, but that's his ace, so, you know, we don't have to count that. But I mean, look at that. With the moveset that we've got right now, you would think that we're going to be cruising right through this game. Well, we make our way to the top of Pokemon Tower, and we do go up against, once again, Team Rocket, and they're not exactly a strong challenge, right? But the fact that we are almost 20 levels above them at this point, and Body Slam is still taking 2 to 3 hits on their evolved Pokemon. Okay, well, maybe it's starting to prove a little bit of the point. I don't know. Maybe we're waffling back and forth. Maybe this is a complex situation. But what we do know is we desperately need to do some leveling up on the outside. I take some time going through the other route, right? Because typically I take the cycling road from Celadon down to Fuchsia. But this time I take some time. I don't fight every trainer along this way, right? But I fight along the side of Vermilion and down below Lavender Town before I finally hit level 60 and I go to Fuchsia. If you look at the top there, you'll see that there are some resets. There's some resets that I did cut for time because you're going to see more of them. So, you know, I don't think you're really missing much, but for sure we did go here at level 56 to go up against Koga, and it did not go well. It was bad. So, yeah, we're going to need to get back in here and really try some new things. And the new things is mostly just being leveled up and hoping that Body Slam carries us to victory. But, of course, one of the biggest problems is that we are weak to Psychic. I mean, the move, but also the type. And in this situation, it is a special move, and our special is not great. It's not awful, but it's not great. And when they can potentially lower your special, it means that they're just doing more damage. So, yeah, of course, that first run did not go the way that we were hoping, That run does not either. It does get a little concerning. It does get a little scary thinking about the fact that Venomoth could potentially do us in if we're not very careful. So I'm going to leave. I'm going to come back later. I'm realizing that level 60 is not really where I need to be. So we're going to go to Silphco. Silphco is one of the places where I did a lot of leveling up earlier. I just didn't go on to the rival and to the final Giovanni battle just yet. But I have fought every trainer in Silphco as well. And that has proven to be helpful for at least for this battle. I have defeated my rival. So surely that means that I'm doing well, right? At level 60, I feel like I should be just doing more damage. I just feel like this Pokemon should be hitting just a little bit harder. It is tough to be 30 levels higher than a Pokemon and still seeing that you need to 2 or even 3 hit the Pokemon. Oh God, I don't think that I want to change my rules and say, okay, yeah, we're going to start using items and take the Weedle approach, but it does make me concerned about the legitimacy of getting to the end of this game with this Pokemon. We are an hour and 37 minutes in, and we're still only 4 badges. Yeah, I mean, I think just sort of let that one sit for a second. Settle in with that information and consider how long it has taken us to get to this point. So now that we have defeated Giovanni for the second time, we can leave Silphco, and I think now is the time that we can go against Koga. Level 61, only 1 level higher. All those final extra battles, I guess it's only 3 battles really, 3 battles difference. So not necessarily that much experience, but surely we're going to get, oh God, we're only at 9 health left. Okay. Yeah, okay, it's fine. We can do this. It was just a bad RNG. We got the biggest rolls possible for his team and maybe the lowest for mine. So surely I can get in here. I'm 2 hitting. I'm 2 hitting even the Venonats. Not a great approach. At least he's using Leech Life. Honestly, without Leech Life and then he throws. Thank goodness. There it is. There's the moment. If he used Psychic, that last battle was over. He used Leech Life, which is super effective. It's just very weak. And then he throws by using X attack instead of healing. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'll take it. What we'll also take is going directly to Blaine. As always, the movement on Cinnabar Island is very difficult on the eyes, just because of the way the color palette is in this level. So we just immediately skip to Blaine. But obviously, I make my way through the Pokemon Mansion. I die here. And I do a little bit of leveling. Not a lot, but enough. I guess just a level's worth, but either way, you know, at some point a level just becomes, I mean, a level. It's a difference and it should be enough. At least in some situations. Now that's a bad one. Getting flamethrowered when you're mostly a physical attacker. Yeah, that's going to kill this one. It's going to kill the World Tour. Okay. Well, maybe we come back again and we fight again. We're being outsped on every front. So it kind of really doesn't matter how much I think we level up. I don't think that we're ever going to be at a point, unless we're at like level 100, that this Pokemon is going to be outspeeding Blaine. Unfortunately, that is also a huge part of this problem. He's getting off these bigger moves that are kind of crushing through my HP and at times trapping me in with things like Fire Spin, which doesn't necessarily do a lot of damage, but when it's continuous and I can't escape it, and he could potentially just spam it if he really wanted to. You know, it's very difficult to get out of those situations. It's kind of like the paralyzed Wrap from earlier, right? And then sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get a paralyze off, which then makes them slower than you. But then you have moments like that, where then you get to the next Pokemon and they do not have the paralyze, so they get to attack first. Flamethrower, even if it's not super effective against you, if your special's kind of weak and they're pretty strong, it can take you down pretty quickly. Now, luckily, he throws here, absolutely. If he had done Flamethrower again, or anything else that was a little bit more consistent, he probably wins. I mean, I would imagine, right? But luckily, he goes for Takedown. It's not very accurate, so we get to move on to Giovanni. And this one's going to get difficult in a very different way. It's going to get frustrating, rather, in a very different way. I guess really both, right? It'll be both difficult and frustrating. One of the big ones here is that we are so low on health. And yeah, that's all it takes to take us out. Earthquake is devastating for this Pokemon. Really, obviously, any of the ground type moves, but Dig, for whatever reason, isn't really being used by this Doug trio. He's mostly going for Fissure, which, even though he does outspeed me, it is still 30% accurate. So luckily we keep getting dodges for that one. Blizzard, when it hits and only hits for the full amount of damage, it is pretty great. Now, luckily, we do survive the very first Earthquake there, and look at that. Okay, hang on. I hear you going, Colin, that didn't really seem all that bad. You did it. You did the thing. Okay, well, let's go take a look at this next rival fight, right? I am very confident that we can make it through this guy because we pretty much crushed him at Silphco, right? Granted, we had fought so many people and we were definitely way over-leveled for him. We're still pretty over-leveled though, right? We're only about 20 levels higher than his team. And then, oh no. Oh my god, I didn't save in front of the rival. I didn't save in front of the rival. I'm gonna lose my mind. That's how I felt genuinely in that moment. The way I looked at my player card in sheer panic of no, surely I saved after the fight, right? At least I saved in the gym. Oh god. Okay, so it only took 3 times last time. So it should only take 3 tries maximum on this one. Okay, so I want you to recognize that I am already technically at 4 times speed, and now I'm going even faster through this section. So that should probably say a lot about how long I spent going up against Giovanni. We're now at 20 resets, an hour 55 in. I had the 8th gym badge. I had that badge in my grasp. And then I done messed it up. I done did the thing that I hate so much, which is forgetting to save and then losing a bunch of time. Well, yeah, that is what's happening here in a major way. We were at 16 resets, and then of course we had a reset to the rival, so that is 17. We then had to reset 5 more times, and then we do finally defeat Giovanni. That is 6 more attempts just to get that badge. We lost a considerable amount of time there. Just time sunk into the fact that we had one fight just go ever so slightly wrong. But it's okay, because even though we're lower on our defense right now, we do have the opportunity to, with the speed tie, go before Kadabra. We one-shot it. Thank goodness we've made it through to Jolteon. Jolteon does outspeed us, but only Pin Missile is really effective against us. So therefore, we are able to take it down with ease. And so now we can finally move on to the Elite Four here at Indigo Plateau. Victory Road I did some training on. I did fight people, but at this point, there's not a lot of experience to be gained here. So we're kind of getting to the end of the road for experience points, at least for this Pokemon. So we're going to go up against Lorelei here first. This is obviously always the first stop, and Lorelei is frequently a little bit of a wall to a lot of these Pokemon. But luckily we have 2 good things going for us here. Yes, we do not have any kind of setup moves. I know, I understand that, and I'm not going to use Mimic, even though it actively would be crucial and beneficial for Nidoran. But again, I am a firm believer that this Pokemon can make it through without it. We have Double Kick, fighting type moves are super effective against ice types. And it does work very well for Jinx and kind of okay for Lapras. But look at that. A very rare occurrence, a first try Lorelei. First try Lorelei. Huh. I don't think I've ever said that out loud before. That's kind of fun. Huh. That's pretty neat. Either way, we then move on to the other easy guy. This is kind of a Surge 2.0 in a way. Not the same type of team, obviously. But Bruno, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he's awful. He's just not good. And so therefore, Nidoran female is able to get the Paralyze with the Body Slam. And then even though he uses an X defend, I use a special move. He goes down. He should have healed there. He didn't. Kind of a foolish move. Okay. Now we're at Agatha. And once again, you'll probably recognize, whoa, that footage is going even faster than normal. Kind of like when we went back to Giovanni, right? Okay, if you thought Giovanni was rough, if you thought Giovanni was bad, it's so much worse here. It is so much worse. Agatha has been tough before, but we have a major problem here. Sabrina obviously was very strong, very tough with her Pokemon and the way that her whole setup is. But at the end of the day, it's easy to kind of breeze right through her and her team, right? Because as long as you can get an attack off quickly enough, their defense is not great. So you can physically just sort of plow right through them. But she's got a team that's very bulky here, Agatha does. And they're very fast. And Nidoran doesn't really learn anything that's super effective against them. And it is so weak to Psychic. And so therefore, any kind of Psychic moves, again, specifically the move Psychic, but then also if they can get a Hypnosis off and hit me with Dream Eater, game over, man. So we sit here and we fight. And it's a lot of using Thunderbolt as best as we possibly can. When is the right and opportune moment to just throw a Blizzard in there? Maybe get a freeze if we're lucky. We never do. Spoiler alert on that one as well. We never get the freeze. So we never get a lucky hit, really, in this entire section. This is one of those moments where if you think that the Giovanni situation was bad luck, then I don't even know what you would want to call this. This is all of my bad karma from the last couple of years, all hitting at one time. I've had some rough and tumble moments in things like the Soul Link that I do on my Twitch streams with my friend Carp. I've had some moments there, you know, that just have been either misplays or just bad luck or what have you. But this feels like that multiplied times, I don't know, 151, let's say. Let's just add it to the Pokedex entries, right? We'll say that that's the multiplier there. If this was a game of Balatro, I would be way underpowered on my hand. I don't know, man. I'm trying desperately to grab at straws at any kind of statement that will maybe bring me joy during this section because of the fact that I was so beyond frustrated. I don't really know how to describe the emotion. I kind of just, if I could show you, I wish I could. If I could have shown you just my body language during this section of the game, it would have, I think, spoken volumes, right? I caught myself so slouched, just sort of slumped in the chair, mostly just holding down the rapid fire trigger button for A, just most of the time just praying that Thunderbolt would finally get a critical hit. And now here's me doing all my trash talking. That was me physically saying something out loud in real life and moving around the room being like, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Oh. Yeah, but look at the time and look at those resets. That is 15 attempts. That was so much time because it's also not even that they took me out quickly each time or anything like that. I was frequently getting to the second to last or the last Pokemon on her team before she was taking me out. Now, luckily, we are having the opposite issue here against Lance. Because we have Blizzard, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. There's number 4. And 5. Okay, yeah, I use a Thunderbolt for the first guy, but you get the idea. So that is a very interesting take, though, right? Because I feel like Lance is also a frequent wall. I think that's one of the kind of cool things about the Elite Four in solo challenges is that a Pokemon trainer that typically walls some other Pokemon then becomes a much easier challenge, or rather not a challenge at all for other Pokemon. Either way, at the end of the day, it's typically going to be your champion that's going to give you the largest amount of trouble, at least in Gen 1, right? Because they are so well-versed, they are so well-rounded, they've got a lot of type coverage, and so when you get to this far in the battle, it's going to be very difficult to make it past everyone that he's got. At this point, even though we are pretty well leveled up, the quick attacks just keep coming. Then we're confused. We only have 6 health. Oh, we don't get the paralyze. So that could have been it right there. We actually could have done it in 1, which is a very good feeling. That should mean that it may only take like a couple of tries to get through Butt's team. I really got to start calling him Blue, I think, from now on. Whenever I try and take myself seriously, okay, well, that was rude. We didn't need to do that. We didn't need to do a one-shot psychic, okay? Let's tone that down, okay? Maybe I will keep your name as Butt. I don't know, man. That one felt a little rude. Okay, back at it again at the Krispy Kreme. We are now going to use Blizzard because that is super effective against Sandslash. We don't have anything great for Alakazam. I tried something a little different there. I was thinking maybe if I can go first, maybe I can get a freeze. Blizzard, not good enough. His special is fairly high, so that kind of tracks that really wouldn't work at the end of the day. I should stick with a physical move because typically I can one-shot the Alakazam. Now, frequently, because of his typing, he can also one-shot me, or if I don't get the paralyze, he will definitely get me on the second hit, like he does on that attempt. Okay, 2 hours, 23 minutes, 40 resets. Alright, that's fine. We're doing okay. We can make it through here. We just have to be really, really good about every one of these hits. Everything has... Okay. I need you to not fall asleep. Like that's the kind of behavior or maneuver. Yeah, that's a reset. Okay, well, that could have been one. That could have been the one. I think if no sleep, I think we get to the end on that one. But that did have sleep, so okay, we're at 41. Once again, Blizzard takes out Sandslash instantly. There's a Kinesis on the field, and there's 2 Kinesis. Typically, once that happens, that is a thing that, for me, I frequently feel like I should just instantly reset. But considering the fact that I have basically perfect health at this point, that feels pretty good. I'll take that, as long as I can get an actual hit off. Because the problem is that then if I attack myself, I am so strong, I'm doing too much damage. Okay. And then there's the Fire Spin Trap. Again, that could have been the one. The problem is the Kinesis was what he was using where he wasn't then doing damage to me. So I made it through with still a lot of health, but he just lowered my accuracy way too much. Although it did make all of my hits hit so much harder. And of course, it also made me hit myself harder, but that's sort of semantics, right? Okay, we get the lucky shot there. We are still at 97 health. We have taken quite a few hits. But the fact that Hypnosis did not hit, and neither did the Kinesis, is pretty good luck. The biggest problem is, again, we don't have anything super effective against Ninetales. Ninetales isn't even necessarily that powerful, but we can make it through. We paralyze the Jolteon. Oh my god, and the Pin Missile is so strong. We just have to do it. Oh my god. Okay, that was so lucky there, and I honestly thought I had one more reset. For some reason in my head, there was one more attempt. So seeing that final hit, and it not being a quick attack from him, and it was actually a victory for us, took me by surprise. Genuinely felt very good to see that happen. At least there's something good here for us, right? 0.04 seconds shy of 2 hours, 25 minutes on the dot. Not a great time for Nidoran. I feel like she was done so dirty by not having quite the same stats and not a good move pool, or at least a better move pool like her counterpart. So I'm so sorry that your time was also bad. If you've made it this far into the video and you've enjoyed it, please consider giving me a subscribe, give it a like, maybe a comment. Let me know how you feel about this Pokemon or other challenges. Anytime you interact with a small-time creator like myself, it really helps us out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week for another solo challenge in Pokemon Yellow.